Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nila Ayuno Roshida. I come from Institut Teknologi 10 November. Here, I want to share our research with the title Predicting Household Per Capita Expenditure by Using Local Mode Regression in POSO Regency, Central Sulawesi. And I will start with the introduction. First of all, I would like to tell to you about COVID-19 effect. World Health Organization or WHO declared COVID-19 as a pandemic start at March 2020. Many countries in the world were developing mitigation strategies to prevent the impact of their issue, especially from health perspective. However, these policies caused worldwide economic downturn, including Indonesia. Statistics Indonesia stated that economic growth in Indonesia experienced a contraction by minus 2.07%. Besides that, it also raised the poverty rate in almost Indonesia's region. Here, I want to tell to you about POSO condition. POSO Regency is located in Central Sulawesi Province. As an ex-conflict city, POSO Regency suffer complex welfare problem, and coupled by pandemic, its poverty rate remains at the top three ranks in the province. And one of the indicators that can measure the welfare status is per capita expenditure. And this graph stated the distribution of per capita expenditure in Poso Regency. We can see from this graph that per capita expenditure of household in Poso Regency tend to be highly skewed. This kind of data is often to be modeled as log transformation regression, or in this study, we stated this model as traditional modeling. But this model has problems. The first, it's unable to measure the absolute effect of each factor. And the second one, it harmful the linearity assumption between response and factors. And the third one is tend to be biased for wrong transformation selection. So the purpose of this study, the first one is we want to compare the performance of ordinarily squared based regression or the traditional method one to log normal regression. And the second one, we want to find the factors that influence the size of household per capita expenditure in POSO regency. And the hypothesis of this study that log normal regression with maximum likelihood estimation method can perform well. Now we go on to methodology part. First, I want to tell the theoretical framework that this per capita expenditure has been studied by Sutikno et al. At 2023 and also Cowdery et al. 2009. It states the factors that influence per capita expenditure. And then modeling highly skewed data can be modeled by using real value by using ordinary least square based model. But this model don't meet homoscedastic assumption. And other solution, we can use log transformation method. But although this model is widely used, unfortunately, it can't measure the absolute effect and real linearity relationship between predictor and response variable. So, in this study, we want to propose log normal regression by using linear model with real value. And this model can deal with heteroscedasticity problem. Okay, go on to the data source and analysis method. First, I want to tell you about the per capita expenditure definition. Statistics Indonesia state that per capita expenditure is individual spending for both food and non-food for a month. And then all the data we get from Statistics Indonesia, that is from Susanas, and also from villagers updating, or we call it PODES. And then the analysis method that we use, we perform three analysis methods. There are log transformation regression based on OLS, or ordinary square based method, and then log normal regression by using ordinary square based 2, and then log normal regression by using maximum likelihood estimation base that we propose in this study. And here is the variable that we used in this study. The first one is the response variable and the rest predictors or the factors. And then go on to the result. Well, here is we perform the exploratory analysis. We perform correlation matrix or the numeric variable. From the first line, we can see that per capita expenditure as response variable has significance correlation to the all predictors. Then, because of we also used the categorical variable that is final education level of head of household, we also perform cross-tabulation analysis to this study. By this table, we can see that no poor household with final education level minimum senior high school. And then we also can see that the higher education level means the less poor household. By this finding, we can see that per capita expenditure has correlation to the predictors. And then we also perform the multicollinearity detection that we use in this study. We use correlation, and here we know that there are three variables that is significance correlation. We also perform a variance expression factor that is stated that no multicollinearity problem in this variable or in this predictor. So we can still use regression modeling in this variable. And here is the regression modeling that we perform in this study. The first one is we set it as LS-lin. It means that least square method from linear modeling by log normal assumption. And the second one is LSAXP. It means that least square method for log transformation method. And the last one is our proposed model, log normal regression by using maximum likelihood. And then, because least square transformation method here is actually is what is we call it that it's not linear modeling. So we only compare the standard error of LS-lin and log normal regression with maximum likelihood regression. Here we can see that standard error of maximum likelihood log normal regression is less than LS-lin. Then, because of we use normal distribution assumption of log normal transformation method, so we perform also the residual diagnostic of this model. We present all the IIDN assumption that from this result we can know that this model can fulfill or this error can fulfill independent and normally distributed assumption. So this model we can say that it can be used to analysis or production using prediction using. Okay, and we also perform the EIC of the model, that is measure the strength of the model. We can see that from this table that maximum likelihood estimation with log normal regression, or we call it log normal regression, is the best model because it has the minimum value of AIC. And then here is the interpretation of the best model. We only present the interpretation of the only significance variable. There are from work variable, it says that adding 1% of working household member will increase per capita expenditure by 6,072 rupees. And then from education level variable, we can see that higher education leads better welfare. Household, which leads by senior high school graduate or higher level per capita expenditure, it has per capita expenditure around 100,000 higher than household with undergraduate leader. Then from each work variable, we can see that adding one health worker in every 10 villagers increase per capita expenditure by 180,000 rupees. So, this is the conclusion and recommendation part. The conclusion of our study is log normal regression can perform better in handling highly skewed data than the common model. And then, increasing per capita expenditure that means improving their welfare can be done by supporting working environment, encouraging education level of society, and enhancing home care villager ratio. And here is the recommendation from this study. The first one, this model can be used by the government as a tool to identify poverty status of such household. And the second one, since the data source providing dwellings coordinate information and benefit citizens, so further research can conduct mark point process analysis, especially Markov-Gaussian Cox process. The last of all, we want to say thank you for all the attention.